Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Today we're going to do a full D5 run through and clear with one of the new characters added in the most recent patch, officially released yesterday, Jack. Jack is a new character that was added along with the Cyborg, Glutton, and Lich. And is definitely, you're likely watching this guide, you understand, is one of the more challenging characters. Jack is definitely a tough character, tough potato to pull off a victory on. But after extensive testing, I do think I figured out the best way to win with this character, and I'm excited to share some of my lessons on this character with you. This is a tough one. I tried quite a few strategies on how to win with this character, and when the beta patch came out about 4 days ago, this was actually the first character I made a guide for. I made a guide on how to beat this D5 with this character using revolvers. I made another one using jousting lances or spears, but I never really uploaded them because I do test this relatively extensively before I put a guide online. And while these strategies were effective, they were not that effective, and I was finding it hard to win consistently. As in, while I could certainly win with revolvers, I was unable to sort of string 2 to 3 runs in a row. It made me think those strategies may not be that good. And if I'm having trouble doing it, others are likely going to also have trouble recreating that. So I was going back to the drawing board. I'm like, there's got to be a way to beat this character that's somewhat efficient. And I was reviewing the patch notes, rereading the patch notes that were officially released yesterday, and I noticed something, that laser pistols had their damage, base damage increased. I haven't really played with laser pistols. Before this patch, they really weren't a good item. In fact, I would say they're not even necessarily a good item now. That said, I do think they are quite powerful on Jack. I do think laser pistols are the key to winning with this character, and we'll talk a little bit more about why and why these weapons work so well. So laser pistols are a weapon, laser guns are a weapon that fire very slowly. However, they have a whopping 40 base damage. In addition, at gray, a 400% range scaling. These things hit like trucks. The reason these weapons, I think, are bad for most characters is they just overkill pretty much every enemy, and it's not worth dealing with that slower attack speed in order to deal more damage, because you typically, in a normal game of Brotato, are more focused on dealing with sort of the hordes of enemies that are present, rather than, dealing insane single target damage. That said, that sort of restriction, I think, makes them quite good for this particular build. So I do think these laser pistols, laser guns, are very, very strong on this character. That said, you do have to build your character well. Again, it's a good strategy, but Jack is challenging enough where you're not going to just pick laser guns and win. You are going to have to build your character very judiciously, make good choices, and be on your A game, dodge well, because while this is the way to do it, and I'm quite confident in that, it's still not easy mode. But we'll talk through all these choices that we're making, as well as some more mechanics so you can understand, again, how you can win on Jack. Now, the other key mechanic about this character, we'll just walk through sort of how this character works, is there are 75% fewer enemies. However, those enemies have 250% increased health, as well as a whopping 50% increase to their damage. You do get 50% increased damage against bosses, and enemies do drop 50%. Enemies do drop 300% more materials, or an additional 200% materials, but those bonuses don't necessarily make up for the challenges you face. So this character is really simply sort of, it's simple in terms of its design. What if instead of the hordes of enemies we normally face in Brotato, there was a lot fewer enemies, but those enemies were much stronger? Kind of like a reverse Loud. That said, it has made a pretty challenging experience, which again, I think having some harder characters in this game is not a bad thing. The other sort of hidden mechanic about this that's not sort of indicated on the character sheet, is there are no horde waves. You only face elites. So you cannot face any horde waves. You will only face elites, and those elites are quite tough. Again, having 250% more health and a sort of very punishing plus 50% damage. So, you do want to sort of be ready by the time you get to that first elite, which we see here on wave 11. You will face an elite either on wave 11 or wave 12. That's when your first one will show up, and you really want to be ready by the time you get there. You really want to emphasize range damage, obviously, with the really, really impressive scaling with the laser pistols. However, you also do not want to sleep on percent damage. With their extremely high base damage and the really good scaling. Percent damage is really, really strong on this character using these laser guns. So something that I normally sort of ignore until later in the game, I do think is quite valuable on Jack when you're going laser guns. So definitely don't sleep on picking up percent damage. In addition, I do think you need to go defense first, or not defense first. You need to prioritize defense a lot earlier in the sort of calculus than you would with other characters. Simply put, those elites deal so much damage and hit so hard that you're in real danger of sort of getting 1 or 2 shot if you don't have some good defense sort of online. So I do look for that a little bit earlier. Really happy here with an alloy. Again, I do think crit is quite strong on this character. All these laser guns do deal a really impressive 2 times critical damage modifier. So I do think getting some early crit is quite good. You can see here we're at 5 armor and 30 health. We do want to bump that up a little bit. The other key thing to think about with laser guns is the normal sort of healing strategy of just getting lifesteal. It's still effective, it's just not as good. You know, lifesteal is a function of your attacks. You have a chance to heal on attack. And with these weapons attacking so much slower, again, it's just not nearly as efficient, although it's still probably your best option. Just understand you're going to be healing less than you normally would. I've experimented a little bit, pardon me, on this particular build. I'm taking an SMG with 5 laser pistols in order to sort of help trigger lifesteal. And I do think that can work. I have been able to pull off some victories doing that strategy, although I think I do find that just straight laser guns is more effective. However, if I do see like a minigun, I do think that is something you should think about, making that maybe a little bit more of an attractive choice. Really happy with 12% speed here, you know, just getting that online, and we'll go ahead and take a medal. Again, we really want to focus on these guns. I will take a tooth just because I do think that is helpful versus elites. You know, ordinarily I would combine a shotgun there. However, you know, we are so sort of focused on laser guns that I do think we kind of want to stay on those weapons. Happy with the power generator just to help increase our base speed. The only other real weapons I think you should truthfully consider in this build is the sniper rifle or the obliterator, both of which scale well with crits, scale well with range damage, and sort of mirror like massive damage towards 1 or 2 enemies. I do think if you see an obliterator or sniper rifle, they can be quite strong. Maybe a minigun if you want to sort of help out with your lifesteal, you know, with reasonably good single target damage. Outside of that though, you really don't want to sort of rock the boat by going with other weapons. So that is a departure, I think, from other characters in Brotato. You know, ordinarily my whole sort of shtick in this game is like be a little flexible on weapons and kind of take what's offered. But again, I do think with Jack, you know, the laser pistols seem so custom suited to dealing with the challenges that you're going to be facing that it's not a bad way to go. And just really hope for some good laser pistol drops. But again, strong enough still that you don't need like an amazing roll to win. Do you like the boxing glove? I really hate to drop our attack speed and crit, but I do think, you know, again, we still want to play a little bit for the end game, even though we really need to be strong up front. So again, with 9 speed, this doesn't do a whole lot now. I do like the broken mouth. I do like the laser gun. I will go ahead and see if we can get, you know, dodge is good in this character, so I would like to get it back online. Really happy to get a lifesteal. And again, while laser guns I think are by far in a way the most effective way to play, you know, you don't want to be an absolute curmudgeon. I mean, if we see a legendary rocket launcher, which I actually have not tried with the laser build, I have really either focused on obliterators, had a successful run with the minigun, sniper rifle, and even one SMG along with these miniguns. I've actually never done a laser gun with a rocket launcher, but if I see an epic rocket launcher, I'm not going to turn it down. With 10 range damage and 55% damage, I'd say we're doing okay on damage. However, 6 armor is acceptable. Again, I usually want to be anywhere between 7 and 8 when I fight that first elite, and we will be fighting that elite right on wave 11, which is challenging. If you're given the choice, I do think, which you aren't given the choice, but if you were able to pick, I would say that you know, it's definitely better to have that extra wave to get ready and to fight that elite on wave 12. But again, not always an option. Yeah, that elite will certainly be punishing us, so you know, hopefully we're able to get you know, some buffs, get in good shape, and hopefully kill it. You know, again, I think that going laser guns really does help you have a real chance to kill that early elites. Although again, you may not necessarily be able to do that. In that case, that's all right. Love that 3 range damage. Really happy to see that. Really like getting our speed up again with you know, with that power generator, that's quite a lot. I really do like a community support here, so we'll go ahead and try this. Again, I will re-roll a little aggressively. Again, just looking for anything that's going to help us against this elite. So we'll go ahead and go down. You know, good speed, sufficient armor, tough lifesteal. You know, I think this will be a challenge. So we are fighting the sort of Chef Cream Puff elite. I do think this is actually the hardest elite you can face early on. I really do. And part of the reason this is so tough is because these sort of armored enemies do charge you while you're fighting the elite. And that can make it very, very difficult to dodge both the enemies that are charging you as well as the elite. Because you can't really run away from this elite and get more breathing room in terms of dodge, because the sort of, you know, things on the map fail you, follow you around. So if you're like a old World of Warcraft player, it's like, don't stand in the fire, don't stand in the dragon breath. Sounds easy on paper, but when you're actually actively dodging these other enemies, it's pretty strong. And you can see there, that was a pretty darn efficient elite kill. And yes, we have an epic rocket launcher, but that's not super, super good here, and our laser guns aren't like insanely overpowered. And you know, we have 13 range damage, which I'd say is okay, right, for this. But I mean, I've had waves where I roll into that elite fight with 25 range damage. So again, I think showing these lasers are pretty effective. I hate losing the 25% damage or the 12% damage, but I do think that gives us enough survivability where it's worth taking it. And give me that range damage, gimme. With 6 armor, I will be a little greedy just because we were able to confidently kill the elite so well, and go ahead and take community support. Even with the buff on this, I don't think it's that good unless you have a cute monkey. So I will go ahead and pass, and I'm happily going to pick up a wheat, you know, which will help us quite a bit in dealing some range damage, getting a little harvesting online. 65 luck, you know, even these baby elephants, I just don't think, you know, with enemies' health, any of these sort of luck accoutrement baby elephant cyber balls are good enough, unfortunately, on Jack. And I do sort of like the thought of Alien Worm, but we're going to go ahead and pass there. Not taking this. The survivability hit is just too great. And looking again for things that will help me now. Really, really happy with these 2 items. You know, with 1 bowler hat, which I believe we picked up, that's enough. And we did actually have that silver bullet we picked up early, pardon me. That definitely helped us kill the boss. That explains why we were able to kill that boss so quickly. I was like, man, that was a little too easy. You know, that was very, very efficient for our sort of gear level. So that silver bullet really, really showing its strength there. But again, I do think that wave still shows the strength of these laser pistols. I do think that's actually the hardest part, truthfully, of this run. The hardest part of Jack is getting through that wave 11 or 12 elite. It really is. And the other elites are quite challenging. I do not want to sort of poo-poo them, but I do think that first elite is quite difficult. So being able to sort of take that elite out is a very good sign. It means we are on the right path. I'm very, very happy with our speed as well. I do want to get our armor up a little bit because, you know, normal run, 4 armor, who cares? We don't need it. I'm cruising. With these guys, again, having so much damage, I do want to get our armor up a little bit. Again, we're not going engineering. Don't need that. With 65 luck, I'm looking for a better sort of upgrade tier. And again, happy with a little more max health. Ordinarily not something I want, but at this point with 71, but again, because we take so much more damage, I think it's valuable. And give me that alloy. Again, really putting us in a bit of a dodge bind. But again, that offense is so good with crit being so valuable. I'm going to think about these 2 items, so I do want to hold them. But I do think the little survivability we get from them may be good for the elite, although I hate losing crit. Again, crit being so good on this. But again, 62% damage, up to 21 range. You know, we're back on track. Again, sort of rule of thumb on Jack, I want about 1 range at least per wave. And we definitely fell behind there, but I'm happy to say it feels like we're back on track. And while I do like this rocket launcher, you know, if I get a chance to kind of swap it out for an obliterator or a sniper rifle, I will probably do so. I do think, you know, we were fortunate enough to get that, but I don't want that to sort of, you know, make you think that you need to get a legendary weapon early to have success. I do not think that rocket launcher, again, it was better than a laser gun, but it's not doing nearly as much as it would in a normal run. These laser pistols are really stealing the show. So again, I really think I'm reinforcing why these laser pistols are good. They're quite good. I went from really struggling to chain together 2 or 3 runs on this character to, I think, chaining a couple victories together once I started playing with laser pistols. Again, do want armor, but man, not turn down 4 range damage with this insane scaling. I really hate to lose crit. Again, we seem to be struggling to get the crit online, but we are so desperate for armor. I'm happy to take that. And I do like the tentacle, again, to sort of reverse the crit we just took. I don't really love this because, again, we're losing luck. You know, we're not getting an HP regen. But again, I prioritize survivability so much on Jack. Again, giving me some more armor. The dodge is not going to do anything, but you know, I do think that's worth it. And I will think about both of these items if we're able to take this out, which I think we will be able to, given that sort of increase in range damage that we just took. But again, you know, you really need to take these things out as quickly as you can, because you know, you're not able to use, like in normal elites, you're able to use sort of tertiary damage, explosions, shredders, what have you, to sort of clear around, as I completely whiff on the dodges there. I like to sort of let this guy dodge towards me, but stay just out of range, and I completely failed doing it that time. So don't be like me. But again, that elite tends to sort of fire out projectiles and then charge you, and I found a really effective way to dodge that elite is just to back up just enough so it charges you and sort of lands near you but not on top of you. That said, I sort of misjudged that dodge a little bit. I do think these waves are also quite challenging for this character. I do think these wizards in particular just are tough because it's hard on this Jack character to sort of keep crowd of waves clear, which is why you gotta be really careful about taking gentle aliens as well as mice. Is not because of the earlier waves, is for these wizard waves. So again, like Giant Belt makes this, I think, a really, really strong win. That said, I'm actually going to recycle this. You know, always take this if you see this. It really, really helps clear. But again, I'm trying to show you how you can win without like insane. And I'm still going to take good items. I'm not just going to give up. But again, I don't want that Giant Belt to sort of be the reason we won, although that would certainly help. So you take the Giant Belt. I'm going to play a little bit of a harder run to show you, again, how you can win. I will increase our range a little bit just in case we see some more Cyclops worms. Again, not enough enemies on Jack to take a hunting trophy. Again, hunting trophy, really good item normally, especially with, you know, a little crit, which we do not have, ironically enough, but I don't really want it here. I do think we have enough waves left to get some value out of that, and we'll go ahead and consider the Bean Teacher with that medkit. So happy to see that medkit. Again, I don't really love that item. Typically, you know, again, HP regen just isn't nearly as strong as lifesteal, but because laser pistols are not as good at triggering lifesteal, I do like that quite a lot. You know, really want to get our weapons upgraded. You know, I do feel a little behind on weapons, even if we're good in some other places, and maybe a little late for that tractor, but I do feel like we've sort of got the space to kind of deal with that. However, you know, I am hoping to get our damage a little higher. You know, we've got decent range damage. That's quite strong. Our weapons are a little behind. I feel good about our defense, maybe a little more armor. Again, armor, you need at least 1.5 times what you want for the bosses on this particular character. So, you know, normally I'm like, hey, you know, 10 armor, more than enough for the boss, the 2 bosses at the end. In this particular character, I'm like, I want way more, right? Like I want 15, I want 20, because you can see just getting one hit there is a lot. And getting our dodge back positive is going to be pretty difficult. I'm happy with our speed. I'm happy with attack speed, even though we have community support. So give me crit. Crit is direct damage on this character. I will take the Bean Teacher. I will take the range damage, even though it's negative. And again, happy to take that, even though we do have some good crit chance. So again, normal character, yeah, I'm replacing a laser gun with a pistol, or sorry, a slingshot, but not doing so here, and happy to upgrade that. I will toss one more reroll. I'm really happy to see this. And again, in a normal build, I'm taking this gentle alien every time we're cruising. On this build, though, getting overwhelmed is quite a possibility. So I will be happy to take that potato, though. That's quite good. And again, you know, with decent luck, we're going to be seeing some more items. So this starting on wave 16, we do see these sort of pimply-looking critters that are quite difficult because they buff enemies. And buffing those enemies does increase their damage. And enemies already have plus 50% increased damage. So, you know, in a normal wave, I'm not really, yeah, I'll try to kill them, but like, who cares if I don't, right? Like, it's not going to make that much of a difference. In this particular wave, I do think you want to sort of actively hunt them down, especially when we get those bowls that charge you, because if these enemies buff bowls and they charge you with sort of the combined damage buffs, yeah, it's pretty tough. So you do want to sort of pay attention for that. But I think we're clearing this relatively easily. I mean, again, for me, the key thing is, are we going to go dodge? Can we get the dodge positive, which will help us a lot during the bosses? It'll just make us have a lot more wiggle room in terms of our survivability. If I can't get my dodge online, then can I get some more armor to sort of make that up? I normally do not like Peaceful Bee on this character. I do think the ranged damage is so important, but I really do want to consider getting some dodge online. So I'll be thinking about that. Very tempted by that max HP, but I'm happy we waited for that dodge, and I really am happy with triceps. That's going to help us a lot. Again, potato, just who doesn't take a potato, right? Like, who doesn't like taking a potato? Just giving us a little bit of everything. I do think that's quite good. As is Warrior's Helmet, again, just giving us a little more survivability. I'm not sure there's enough waves left in the game to get a ton of value out of the Lucky Potion. I will go ahead and pick this up after the Elite. I do think that can be pretty good, but I do not want to deal with it just yet. Bait is quite strong. Sort of debating Peacock. I think we could probably handle that on wave 18, but that item is so risky just on this character. So we are getting a little bit of value from our Lucky Tooth, which is helping slow down these elites, which also does slow down the projectiles, by the way. So it can be quite good at dealing with elites and bosses. Lucky Tooth is not an item I really like, truthfully. I mean, I'll take it if it's offered, you know, at a good price, at a good time, but I typically do not prioritize Lucky Tooth. However, on this character, I like it a lot. And the reason is I just think you can dodge most of the enemies sufficiently enough without it, especially with a little practice and a little speed. This is not one of those cases. I will take every single advantage I can get. And you see I kind of dodged through there to try to hit the boss a couple times to finish it off and just completely whiffed. So we are sort of seeing the new attack pattern here, which makes killing this elite pretty challenging. I do think the new attack pattern does make this elite substantially more challenging than it once was. Trying to duck in there and grab that that crate just for that full heal. We're not. Oh, we were able to kill that. That's Beast Sword damage. Like, there's no way we're gonna be able to kill that crate guy, but we were able to do so. Again, we're not melee, so not happy with the mammoth. Again, speed and life steal at the expense of luck. Happy to see it. A little too late for me to really worry about harvesting. Let's see. I wish I sort of would have bothered with the math to figure out what is better here. 500. I think it was 600% scaling. 6, 12. 24, 6, 12, 24 versus 16%. I should have figured this out earlier. I'll just take the range damage because, you know, I know range damage is good. Adrenaline, we want to get our dodge back online. I'm going to do one reroll. Think about it. Again, I don't mind dropping our regen. I'm tempted by this glass cannon, but I just do not know if it's suicide. So I'm going to hold on to it for one wave. I mean, obviously, you normally want to be a little more efficient with your rerolls there. I think that plus 25% damage will be very, very valuable, but I just know from playing this character a few times, you need every single lick of armor you can get by the final two bosses. By the way, the adrenaline item I do think is decent, giving you heal on dodge. We do need a little more dodge to get that online. You know, again, I don't think adrenaline is amazing, except for one thing. I do think adrenaline is really, really good with the bosses. I do think bosses are the one enemy wave where I do dodge consistently. I think if you play the elites well, play the normal waves well, and you build well with good offense, like on a normal character, you don't need that much dodge. I think dodge is very strong, but it's more of a nice to have. That said, where it does shine is the bosses, and I do think this character in particular, you know, again, with those bosses being so much stronger, you know, will benefit from that adrenaline. So I am quite happy to see that. You know, if I can get my dodge right now to 15, if I can get up to like 20, 25 versus the bosses, I think that'll really improve our health or our prospects. But man, you can see like one hit, even with 10 armor from a little orb there, did 20 damage. We do a lot of piercing, so I'll take that. Really like this. Again, let me tank range. And what we're looking for, more dodge. Give me that legendary dodge. We will take the community support over the glass cannon. I think that's a good trade-off. Nuclear launcher, again, I don't think really worth it here. Insanity, I just love percent damage on this character due to the high base damage of everything. May take this. I'll toss one more reroll. We'll definitely take this. Getting our crit back up to 31. You know, I don't love Schmoop, but we do have positive ranged, positive HP regen, which we don't always do. But you can see our crits are dealing a lot. You know, I would have loved to get some more legendary laser guns. We feel a little behind on those. You know, I will say you traditionally do get like more materials on this character than you do normal characters. Not enough to make it easy, let me be clear, but I do think you end up with a little bit more materials as the game progresses. Just seems like you end up with more. So I do typically find myself having a little bit better sort of rare item quality, weapon quality than I do in other characters. So I'm a little disappointed that we still have a blue weapon, only 2 legendary weapons. I think that will slow us down quite a bit, especially given the insane scaling with the lasers, where having those legendary ones are extremely valuable. I do not mind taking that second community support, even though I do really want armor. I just think that attack speed will help us a lot on the bosses, give us a lot of extra damage. And I do think we have a realistic shot at killing them, even with their extra health. So anything I can do to maximize that, I'm willing to take. The boss waves are so easy once you kill one of them. So I will prioritize that. Again, I don't even have to think about it. We'll take the 60% damage. I want offense. Get rid of that blue laser pistol. Again, I don't like losing range here, but we do have positive regen. The max health is good. Too late for the bowler hat. Lucky coin would have been really good, earlier in the run. I do think we have enough health. And yeah, you know what? I made it easy for you guys by passing up on the Giant's Belt, but I'm not passing up another silver bullet. And would have really liked that leather vest. But I think we have a pretty good chance of beating this run. So I feel pretty good. So this is the elite I always try to kill first. He is more powerful. He's not more powerful. His second wave is more punishing. By restricting your movement with sort of that circular pattern on the floor, that's pretty difficult. But if you take him out first, it just makes dodging the other boss easy. And I kind of got trapped in the corner, which is something I need to watch out for. One of the minor changes with Endless Mode, even though we're not playing Endless Mode, is that all the bosses do drop that crate, which is actually a nice kind of buff, that I think is underrated, because you can go ahead and heal the full by picking it up. But you can see, pretty clean run. I mean, with these bosses having all that health, with passing up on that Giant Belt just to show a good run, we were able to go ahead and stomp this character pretty easily. So again, I think this just shows the power of the laser pistol as it relates to Jack, who is a tough character. Went laser pistols early, ended up putting together a relatively good package, but didn't get anything like insanely overpowered. We didn't get an early obliterator, we didn't get an early sniper rifle. We didn't, I've had runs where I'm at wave 15 with 4 legendary laser guns, which we only had 1. So again, I think this just shows a good blueprint of how you can go ahead and beat Jack by using that laser pistol, by really cranking this percent damage, by really prioritizing defense and getting as much range damage as you can. Again, I'm trying to make some Brotato content that I think is just a little more analytically oriented, doing full commentary throughout the runs. And I'm doing this for fun, but I am trying to get this channel off the ground just because I enjoy talking about this game. So if you did find this helpful, do me a solid. Go ahead and like and subscribe, as we'll update guides, as well as tier lists, and sort of all sorts of things that you need to really master Brotato, a roguelite, which I am really enjoying. Anyway, I really do hope this helps you clear D5 on Jack. A pretty challenging character, but follow these steps. Think about what we did here, and you'll have no problem getting that win, and again, keeping that row yellow. Appreciate you watching. Thank you, and take care.